Hey guys, before this video starts, I want to give a big thanks to Grimtale Brothers and Killer Orange Cat for helping me out with this video. They both have great channels that feature a lot of creepy content, so be sure to check them out. While you're there, check out the collabs we did on their channels as well. I'll link them down in the description, as well as on screen at the end of this video. So, without further ado, I hope you enjoy. Once, when I was young, around 8 or 10 years old, I was at a family friend's big cookout for the nearing of the end of summer. It was getting dark around the time I was in the backyard with a group of other children my age, playing underneath a big tree. Close by were a line of tall dark hedges, and in front of those was an older guest, presumably monitoring us kids. He was maybe in his 50s, balding and with a clean pastel yellow shirt stretched over a potbelly. He was holding a plastic red cup and watching all of us playing with a good-natured smile. He seemed like a nice enough guy, occasionally laughing at our jokes or trying to engage in what conversation he could with us excitable hoodlums running amok. He really didn't strike me as a creeper or dangerous at that time. At one point, I recall bragging to my friend about a certain, now long forgotten adventure I'd had at a pool or a lake that summer, and I complained about not having gotten to swim anymore after that. The man at the hedges had heard me and remarked in a friendly way that he had a very nice pool, one with a slide, lots of floating toys, a hot tub, and nearly 100 rainbow lights that made it look magical at night. When I said something to the effect of, "That sounds awesome," he told me with a big, genuine smile that he lived not 4 houses down the street and would be happy to turn them all on and show it to me. Now, it did sound kind of lovely, but I was having much too good a time playing with my friends to drop it and go see a pool that I wouldn't have even been able to swim in. But the man had been pretty nice in offering, and I didn't want to be rude and refuse outright. So, with the excuse that it was getting pretty dark, and knowing full well that my mom would never consent to such a silly reason for leaving the party, I told him I'd have to ask my mother, to which he gently insisted that it wouldn't really be necessary since he only lived a little ways down the street. I said, "I really need to ask my mom. She'll get really mad if I left without telling her." So, after obtaining the expected, "No, you're not going to some strange man's house," from the great oppressor, my mom, I returned to the spot where the old man had been, to find that he had mysteriously vanished. After looking around for him for a little bit, I ran into the hostess at a bonfire, near where the tree and hedges had been. I asked her if she had seen her neighbor with the cool swimming pool. She looked at me in polite confusion and said, "Child, I don't have any neighbors with a pool."
I wanted to make an urban exploration YouTube channel for quite a while. However, even though I've seen a lot of urban exploration videos, I didn't always believe the things I was seeing were really happening. I was convinced that the majority of scary things that have happened on those videos were set up by the YouTubers beforehand. So I decided that I would go and try to set something up beforehand to make it creepier. Because of what happened in this story, I decided to drop my idea of making an urban exploration channel, which is why I don't have any problem telling you that I was planning on faking the video. There were these tunnels, off in a bad part of the city. They were under a series of old walking bridges that almost no one really ever used anymore. Every now and then, there might be a homeless guy hanging out in the tunnel, but that was really about the only thing that really ever went on there. I hadn't been to the tunnels in a little while, so I wanted to scout them out, so I could maybe get an idea as to something I could set up. I was scouting out the tunnels by myself. There were several of them. For the most part, they were full of leaves and some garbage. Lots of graffiti was on the walls. It looked like the perfect and spooky place to set up a video. As I was walking along one of the tunnels, my foot hit something slightly hard and caused me to stumble and nearly fall. I was able to brace myself by jumping forward into the stumble, which also caused me to jump over the object that I had hit. What I had hit was soft, and I actually thought it was a person. However, it didn't move when I kicked it, so I got curious and moved towards it. There was definitely something buried under the leaves. I only must not have noticed it before, because I was paying attention to where I was walking. I walked over to the object and kicked it a few times. It felt like a person or something. That made me begin to get quite anxious. I called out a few times, but didn't get a response. I didn't think that I would. Nervously, I began to move some of the leaves off the body. As I did, I saw that it was indeed a body, but it was a body that had its head completely severed. I fell onto my ass in shock. I know it may seem silly to be scared of a dead body, but I was. I scurried to my feet and did my best to run out of the tunnel. I knew that whomever put the body there was likely long gone, and the body itself was no danger to me. But I didn't care. I had to get out of there. Once I was out, I called the police anonymously and told them about what I found. It wasn't even my first day doing an exploration video, and I stumbled upon a decapitated corpse. It killed any desire I had to do that channel.
When I was 15, my mother went out shopping and left me in charge of the house. It was starting to get dark, and I realized my little brother was nowhere to be found. I asked my sister if she knew where he was, and she said,
"He had gone to the park, around the corner, to kick his football around."
I told her to watch the house while I was gone. I ran off in the direction of the park. When I got there, I was surprised to find the park completely empty. I called out my brother's name, but there was no answer. I started to get worried. All of a sudden, I heard a faint, muffled noise coming from my left. I turned just in time to see a tall figure disappearing behind a large fence. I sprinted as fast as I could, and when I came around to the other side of the fence, I saw something that almost made me choke in horror. My little brother was being dragged down the alleyway by a tall man. I flew into a rage, and tears of anger streamed down my face. I ran at him, and he must have heard me coming, because he turned around to face me and dropped my younger brother. The tall man tried to grab me, but I was running at him so fast that when I slammed into him, I knocked him off his feet. The tall man tried to get back up, but I just started stomping on his face without stopping to ask any questions. I picked my brother up and I ran as fast as I could back to our house. By this time, it was pitch black outside and my mother was home. She was frantic with worry, and when she saw the look on both of our faces, she realized that something bad had happened. As I explained, my brother and I started crying, and my mom gave us the biggest hug ever to try to calm us down. It didn't work.